So I managed to find this tiny reference of the bottom part of the magazine, and as you can see there's like some sort of bolt out there, so it's really easy to model that. So let's select this guy and duplicate, import like basic cylinder 18 or 16, let's go 16. Reset pivot, turn 90 degrees, move to the bottom, turn off the symmetry, set to subtract, crease, yep. Crease, set tolerance, right there. And now let's scale it down to, I was mentioning this before, you can like start scaling this side and hold Alt, and you'll be like scaling the radius of the cylinder. So I guess it'll be okay like this. Now I can use the same cylinder for the bolt itself. Just set it here as a new object. Scale this way. And right now it's a rivet or a pin. So there's one thing left here is a like representation of Allen bolt. So I just imported the 6-edged cylinder, which can perfectly serve as a like Allen bolt head, right like this. And here you go, it's done really fast. So let's save the scene. Yep. So now let's move on to the slide. And as you can see, this is the second like really hard and complicated shape. So what I would like to do is combine this part into two parts that are going to be merged. First part is going to be this boxy shape that will go along all the way like on the whole length of the frame, and the second shape is going to be the similar but like wider, which will represent like this shape. And what I'm going to do is just duplicate this one, scale it sideways so that it will be as width as this thing, and then I will just cut off like this shape. So I guess this is like the most logical way in my situation how to do this. So let's go to Maya. Let's unhide this guy, right? And let's start with the box, just as usual. Turn on transparency, get the height. Move it on place. Okay, so this like clip really is not making a good reference for me here, but I'll try to solve this and figure it out. So about the width of this slide, as you can see here, the widest point of the slide is like a bit thinner than the frame, and like the thinnest part of the slide is even with this surface of the frame, so I have like some markers on my model already, so I won't have to guess about the dimensions. So let's go with that, and let's isolate those two guys. Let's go to the top view, turn off transparency, and make it even wider, like this. Now let's do the beveling. It's pretty around here, so I'll try to eyeball this, how beveled this is. Yeah, I'll go with like big amount of segments, because this is the part that is going to be like just in front of you as a first person like perspective. So like I'll place as much of as possible of those segments so that the surface could look like the most smooth you can get. Okay, so let's go with 336, like this. Okay. So now let's add some supporting edges right here, and same thing here, but here it's going to be 2. Right, like this. Okay, so this is too far. Okay, I can move it even like further, because the second shape is going to fill this place. So okay, move this one up just a bit. Now let's export this guy into ZBrush. See how it looks. So close this folder, close this one. Right, so I have this serial number plate. I'll send it back to the frame folder. Alright, now let's append sphere. Import the slide like this. Crease. Yep, did worked. So, oh right, I forgot one thing. The bevel here, the sharp bevel here. So I have a side view reference for that, which is good. This beveling is sharp, like this. Export this guy back. Crease. Select these guys. Crease again. Yep. So, as you can see here, the thickness of the barrel walls is too small, because you can see here that the cutout for the barrel goes even higher. And actually the cutout is not perfectly rounded, because the barrel, when the gun cycles, it tilts upwards. So this cutout is made for like smoother bevel tilting. So that there was a room for that, but still, well, well, no, I guess this distance is pretty much equal to this one. After I'm going to do this cutout, round cutout, it will like be perfectly there. The other thing that is bothering me is this distance, because I can see that this one is not that thin, as here it's thinner over here, and I'll see how it's gonna work when I'll do the second part, but pretty sure I'm going to do this right here thinner, but that's a bit later. So right now, and just now, like my general expression of this form, like this thing is quite a bit wider than I would imagine, and like the general feel of this gun feels like the slide is wider. Okay, but let's do the second part and then we'll figure that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is duplicate this guy. Well, actually no, I'm going to create a cutting shape. Hide this guy, hide this one as well. And now let's do the contour of this shape. So the tool, the object that is going to be cutting. So like this, extrude the face, extrude this one as well. Now, right, select vertices and move them accordingly. Right. So here is, I can't see how it looks there. I can just follow the reference from here. So like this. Right now, actually, I can create a helping shape. I will use it in future, and this will help me to navigate through this like clip that blocks the view of the mesh that I'm trying to build. So I'll build a cylinder, turn up the symmetry, rotate it 90 degrees, like less 16 is going to be okay, and extrude the half of it like this. Go higher. Now scale it down, and as you can see here, it's a like perfectly round shape that is like the half of that cylinder is extruded upwards. So this is the thing that I'm building right now. So I can like guess the width of this shape because we have like this top part popping out, and it will be a great reference for the width of this shape. So move it higher like this. All right, and I also have this line over here that can tell me the angle of this shape. I guess it's somewhere like there. Okay, and now I can guess that it's right here. As you can see, it meets like the serrations over here. And now let's just duplicate this guy and move it to the way back right here. So this is the last serration here. And now it's a good like marker for us to understand where this form stops and where it continues. So let's go on, go to here. Now select the face and extrude it down there and extrude it here, like so. And I will actually merge it with this cylindrical part. Right now I want to align those vertices with the lowest part of those half cylinders. Right there. Yep, this is good. So I'll keep this guy over here. I don't need him for now. But this one, I need this. And let's move this over here. Which is the lowest? This one is the lowest. And this one here. Okay. So let's go back to here. I will align those guys together. And so what I'm also going to do is delete those faces that I don't need with my symmetry on. Whoops. Okay, as you can see right now, the symmetry affects this object in the wrong way. That's because it is rotated right here 90 degrees, as you can see, and it is like applying the symmetry locally on this object. What you can do is go to modify and modify freeze transformations, and it will like collapse all the transformations over here. So now if I turn on the symmetry, it will select accordingly to the general scene. Now select those faces that I do not need. All of those, delete, and these guys as well. Yep, like this. Now let's delete this face over here and attach these two objects like so. All right, now let's align each side perfectly with one another. Yep, like this. And now what I want to do is to target weld. Okay, turn off the symmetry, it's messing up. Yeah, so in the vertex mode, target weld to here and whoops, to this one. And let's just fill this hole right there. This looks ugly. Let's make it look, no, that was wrong because I need this line over here. So don't touch the last one. Like so, and here, yep. And let's add supporting edge right there. Another thing that I need is also to bevel these guys. Bevel. Let's add some segments there. That's okay. And as you can see, it's not actually fitting there perfectly. So there should be place for this half cylinder piece. So I'll move it like this. As you can see in the reference, there's a tiny bit of thing like comes out. So I'll try to fit that reference. And also let's do the bevel here. Let's do add more segments and let's try to fit it to reference. Yep, this looks good. Okay, so the shape looks okay. Let's add some more supporting edges here and here. Why there's two? All right, because Still 2, okay, no problem. Move it over here. Same one is here, like this, and same thing over here. Right. Select edges, connect. Now I need 1, and move the whole right. No. Select the vertices and edge slide, so it's not breaking the silhouette. Like this. So this shape is done. I'll scale it sideways. So now I need like the main shape that this is going to cut. So this is the last one. Hide it, and then hide the previous one, and just scale it more like this. Let's go into front view and see how wide it is according to the grip. It's pretty much there, because let's check the reference. This is the width of this part. This is the width, the widest point of the frame. This is like more into frame. So just like here. Another thing is we have like this tiny angle over here. I would like to do that, and just trying to get the position of that thing, where that angle starts. Right, it is really clearly seen, like the tone of this surface and tone of this one. It is somewhere here in the middle of this round corner. So it's going to be like here. Now let's select all of those guys, go into front view and scale them without slide edge. Scale them like, no, this is wrong. What you should do is, and go back, because I want to maintain the width. Right, now let's add supporting edge right here, and now let's scale those guys out. Right, yeah, this is much better. Like this. Well, I did quite the same thing. Okay, let's make this transition like more soft and natural, like so. Okay, we'll check this out later, how it's gonna look. So let's, oh, another thing, right, so we have also a beveling over here, but this one, like comparing to this one is rounded, right? I guess because like to this side you may touch this part more, so it could be more like soft to hands, or not to reflect light that strongly as a flat surface. That might be another reason, because here is a siding. So, well, that does not actually matters. And let's put it on the proper distance right there, and make a beveling. Something went wrong here. Well, all right, I've selected too much. Deselect these guys and these as well. Yeah, now this is good. And make it round. Right there. well, yeah, guess it's okay. Okay, so let's export this one first. Right, let's create a new folder for the slide, call it slide. Duplicate this, move up to the folder, import, just create a shape, do some same creasing stuff. Right, just realized I did not add a supporting edges, which actually required over here, and you can see like the result after this point. The surface is not perfectly flat, it goes like steps. You can see those steps over here, and this is wrong. That's what happens when you do not like add a supporting edge. So let's do that. Add a supporting edge right here, and now it's perfect. Like you can see one step there, but that's just because the supporting edge just right here. After that, it's perfectly flat. Okay. And all right, and I also would like to add a support, just to crease this part. Yeah, because obviously this edge is pretty sharp. It's not sharp, but the transition between those two surfaces, they're not like soft and rounded. It's just one angle. So let's do the same thing. And you can see how those guys overlap on each other. So right now I'm going to move this shape up. This one's lower. Now duplicate it, and let's import the cutting shape that I did before, this one. Export, import into this one. Right, need to crease it, yeah, like this. I don't like this. Crease it over here. Yeah. Now it looks good. Turn to subtract, and here it is. Looking pretty neat. So a few things that I find not too good. First of all, somehow this transition, this line sharp is lower than it should be, because right here you can align it with this, and you can see it like goes straight into here. And well, actually that's because we don't have beveling, right? The edge is flat. Okay, I'll do bevels, and then I'll check the right height of this angle right here. So what I can tell now is that this part is too thin and this shape is too wide, as I said before, and it looks like that. So this part is actually, I think it's wider. I would like to do it wider. It will feel much better when it's going to be wider. And also I have like this gap over here, which is much thinner than I have it here, which is a good like representative of a proper width of the object. So basically, like, I can easily edit this. Just go to this one, and what I want to do is just move those vertices more to the center, turn on the symmetry, and just move those guys in. until I find that the width is proper. Well, I guess I think I'm okay with this width. It's looking much better. So another issue that like appeared is this surface on frame, which is not corresponding to this one, and actually this is pretty easy to edit as well. Just go into this shape, Shift D, and select the surface that you want to move. So in our case, it's this part right there. Turn on the symmetry right there. Flip masking, turn off, and basically it should move. Yep, it does what it should do. It moves the way it should move, like this. Well, I guess it's kind of too wide. Yeah, it's kind of too wide. Let's go not that extreme. Somewhere like this. So select these guys and do the same thing here so that there were more, those cuts were more prominent. Right? But with symmetry. Like this. And one last thing to be done is the beveling. So basically do the same thing here and move it, right? And all the magic happens. Like this is like here it is a good example of like the benefits you have while using ZBrush with this method. You can see that everything is really like parametric, everything is editable. Nothing is like fixed and you have to remodel something. It's really flexible. You can like edit things on spot and you can see that it's really easy to do. So let's move those guys a bit wider to fit that thing, like so. Yeah, that's better. So as you can see, I'm doing compromises here because I still think that this distance is thinner than here, but I cannot do this even thinner because it's going to make this part over here too wide, and I think divide this thing. And what I want to do is to match this part with this part. The easiest way to do that is send all the guys back into Maya, because I've just edited all the parameters, so I want to be perfectly fitting, so I can delete all of those. Import this guy, and well, actually I did the wrong thing here. Oh, okay, nothing too bad. And export this guy. Same here. Okay. So now what I want to do is select those guys, turn on symmetry, go into front view. No, first of all you gotta select those. Now go into front view, isolate, go into vertex mode, turn on transparency, stick your pivot to one of those to one of those verts, for example to this one, and now move all of the verts accordingly to the same vert over here. Yeah, like this. So it perfectly fits over here. And what I want to do now is actually to make this line over here better. So that it will follow the silhouette a bit better, so that transition would be smoother and nicer. Can turn off transparency and wireframe. Move those guys like this. Still there's like a small bump over there. Yeah. Okay, so this fits perfectly. Let's send this guy back. Come on. To ZBrush. Import. Crease. And here we go. Turn on polypaint so that I could see. Oh right, I forgot one little thing. Crease this. Yeah. Okay, so the main shape is almost done. As you can see, it looks pretty not bad. The only major thing that left is, hold on a second, somehow it tapers. Why so? Can't be tapering. Why it's tapered? What I see here, like in a front view, you can see it. This is the back side, this is the front side, and they're not matching. Why so? This is interesting. Turn on transparency. Select these guys and go into, whoa. Okay, let's move those back to where they should be. Right there. As well as these guys should be, well, these guys are not that important actually because they're going to be cut it anyways. What the hell? Something happened here. Let's select all and just merge them. Yeah, now it looks better. Another thing that can be done, just select this face and scale it sideways in order to make it perfectly flat. It is already. Same thing here. You can do, but if you're going to do this, you can see it does like perfectly like vertical, but you can align it to this surface, to this face, and do the same thing. Right now it should look good. Export. Somehow this happened. It's okay. The only thing you need to do is to spot those differences. Now, yeah, now it's good. Crease here, crease over here as well. See on the front side, yeah, it's now perfect. Yeah, and this bevel here is much wider. Like, I mean, the width of this cutting part. So yeah, this looks good. Let's save the scene. And the only thing left here is the beveling of this thing. And because right now, if you look at this at the side view, it's like flat, but it should be beveled. So to do this bevel is actually pretty easy. What I need to do is just export this shape back into Maya. Yep. And I will hide this one. Import this guy, and what I want to do is to connect those edges 2 times. What the hell? 2 times. Yep, like this. And I would like to align those edges with, where is it? Right. With initial, like the thing slide part over here. So you will see what I'm talking about. Snap to polys and move right there. So this is going to be like the edge part of the beveling. And here's the trick that I was showing actually before. Select those face loops over there and go to side view and extrude. Where's that? Yeah, it is. Extrude without snapping to points like this. Now I have this difference. So let's move those guys over here, fix the issues that are here. I don't like this place that much, doesn't look proper. This should be better looking, like this. Yeah, basically looks good everywhere. All right, and what I would like to do as well is to set the outer border of the beveling. So just add supporting edges over there, and now unhide this big shape over here, and do the same thing for the wide shape. Snap it to the widest point at here. Well, this is not that important right now. I'll be able to edit this in ZBrush, and now what I'm just going to do is to delete this edge loop, these 2 edge loops. Control backspace, and here you go. This is your bevel over here. Let's export this thing back into ZBrush. Let's replace this part like this. Crease again. Crease this guy. And right, should be creased here as well. And let's see how it works. And here you go. This is the creased part. I mean, this is the beveled shape, which looks awesome. The only thing needed here is to adjust this outer rim, move it just a bit further. No, not you, this. Yeah. And this looks great. This looks really good. So the only issue here, turn on the poly paint, is that we still have this line over here, and there are two solutions for this. First, we can move the whole thing up, but I quite think that this line over here is like on its proper position. What I would like to do instead is just add an edge loop, add actually two edge loops over here. And what I'm going to do is to move the whole part of this thing upper without affecting the height of this edge over here. So as you can see, I masked the front part, turn off the poly, the wireframe, and move it up. And here you go, this thing is still there where it should be, and there's no this ugly line over here. So this looks nice, really good. Really like the way it looks right now. Let's just check it from all the angles, see how it turns out. Yeah, this is good. So a bit weird and strange approach at first, because this is actually not the classic way you would think how to model this part. But as you can see, it works, and it's pretty editable, and it's quick, and it's easy. So just have to set your mind on a special way of thinking, and you can see how it's gonna work. Works pretty good. So let's save the scene. What I want to do now is to add those serrations over here, because I have already the shape for those guys. And you can actually see here on the reference, like this is like a bug of milling machine, I guess. I can only guess. So that like the cutting machinery did not go that far when where it should be over here, and you can see like this teeny tiny edge over there. So as you can see, in real life things happen, like such errors can occur, and it's okay. On this side it's perfectly executed, but here you can still see that like small error, which is cool, you know. Actually, if someone could add that, this is actually what makes this model more like alive or something like that, those small details and imperfections. But I'm not going to do that, because a better way to do that is to represent on texturing. So about serrations, right? I already have this shape here. Yep, here it is. And let's hide. No, actually, I'm not going to hide. I'm going to set the last serration here. Just duplicate this cylinder and do the trick I did before. Snap 2 points, hold D to edit pivot, snap it to this point, and snap this guy to this point, to corresponding point on the other shape, and here it's snapped perfectly. Now I'm going to hide all of those guys. As you can see, I have the first and the last serration here. I'm just going to duplicate it and manually move all the rest like so. No, actually no, this is wrong, because I have to add some supporting edges right there, like this, and with this one. Yeah, now I can duplicate those guys. Control D, move it, Control D and move, Control D and move, Control D and move. I could actually do this in a smart way with like duplicate special, but it's not that much. I can move those, all of those guys manually. That's okay. Let's perfectly adjust those and redistribute those accordingly. Now let's combine all of those guys. Here we got it. And export. So duplicate, move back into folder. Here these guys are. Crease. Yep, this decreased pretty good. Move to the side. Turn off the symmetry. Move to the side. Let's apply polypaint. Center the pivot. Set to subtract and move. Yep, this looks good. So the depth that those guys are coming in is not that big. Yeah, I'll leave it like there. Well, just for better purposes, I can make it a bit deeper. Right, I also noticed this thing over here, that on this cutting part I actually don't have a supporting edge right there, which is kind of bad. And right now I'm pretty lucky, because whenever the shape is not that perfect and you have a lot of triangles over here, when you add an edge loop, it can go like random direction, and it's like not really good. But I'm lucky, and this edge loop goes somewhere up, not affecting none of those things that are really important. So I'll just take it like this. It's fine. Yeah, now it's better. Turn off. Yeah, now you can see this part is perfect. So let's go on. You can also see here with the reference, like we're almost perfect there. Like this bevel ends up right there, and same here, like it ends almost there. So this looks really, really good. And so let's duplicate it, mirror, go back into folder, send to subtract. Let's merge those guys together like this, and have this symmetrical. Perfect. Okay, so let's save the scene. And now let's do those, like these continuations of those serrations. And there is a way, fancy way of doing that, I should think. There should be a fancy way. Well, what I can do is to connect those guys right there, set to edge slide, turn off the symmetry, try to align those like this, move those guys up, scale again, scale again, right there. And now I guess I can select these guys and just move those like there. Well, I should test this, how it's gonna look. So let's replace those guys with these. Import. Yep, crease again. Move back there. Do like this. And now what I want to do is to add some more creasing for this part right there, and for this part right here, so that now if I'm moving these guys, you can see that this is like flat. It's not perfectly flat actually. Well, let's see. Yeah, it does almost what I need. Just because those things are not flat, they're on top. Well, that can be fixed. Let's export those guys back into Maya, excuse me. Import one. So what I want to do now is do pretty much the same thing as I did before. First of all, let's like make those guys longer. Like do same connection style here. Scale it. Move a bit higher. Right there. Now this surface should be perfect, I guess. So export those guys back. Import. Now let's crease it again. Right there and right there. Somehow, I'm not sure if this creasing worked. Yeah, now you can see, because this edge and this edge is now perfectly horizontal, the surfaces, they're not like wobbly or something, they're like perfectly flat, and I think this will work. Now what I want to do is just add those guys and continue move them in until they go somewhere here. Oh yeah, this is a really good one, because you can see here like the change of the shading of the object, and this is like the very edge of the bevel of the slide, and those serrations are not going like beyond those, they stop like somewhere before those, creating a small gap over here. So let's use that thing and do the same thing right there, like this. Somehow, what are those things doing there? Yeah, this is it. This is how it should look, and it looks pretty good. Turn off the mask, reset pivot, and let's adjust it just a bit more. Well, this part here is quite difficult in terms of future low poly modeling and baking, because like in real life you can see that like this angle like almost touches this surface right at this point, but when I'm going to bake normal maps, this place might be too thin to like represent any kind of normal mapping, and it might be bad. So might look bad, and I would take risk and make this part a bit more separate from each other. So like I'm taking this step with knowledge of what I'm doing and taking this risk because it will look better at the baking part, so that you can see that this gap over here, there's something, at least some space left, and it will look better when baked. So, and still, like, even when I'm done with baking and all that kind of stuff, this thing is still can be edited, and if it's not going to look good, I can redo that. Just double check this again. Okay, yeah, this looks good. Let's leave it like there. Duplicate it, mirror, subtract, back to folder, and merge those guys together like this. Save as, like our scene. So you can see that the general shape of the slide is pretty much done. The rest is like internal parts and like cutouts for the barrel and all kind of that stuff, which is like minor details, but the main shape is done. And you can actually check out the silhouette of the gun itself. It's basically done. It's looking good. And yeah, so I suggest to do those cuts for the sights. It's pretty easy, just with the box, simple box. Go to side view, import, like insert the box, turn it, like make the proper width right there, move the lower guys there. No, better to add the supporting edge there, and scale. So the sights on like this kind of gun they are like pushed in through this groove. You can see like this and this is one piece of the sight, and there's like the special tool that pushes the sight from the side of the slide, and it like pushes in, and you can remove those by pushing them out. So that's what these things do. Okay, so I have the front part. I'm not actually like not too confident about this depth because the picture is a bit warped and deformed. I think that this height is a bit more. That's not too much important. Duplicate it and move there. Now let's merge them together and let's export. Duplicate, import one, get up. I don't need to dynamic subdivision for those guys because they're already there, and scale them. Right, center the pivot, Shift D, and scale them out, just like so. Okay, and now I want to check this thing with, check the reference for, you can see this thing cuts into the serrations right there, and I want to make it look nicer. Like this. Okay, that's okay. This looks okay. right there. So now let's do the cutout for the barrel. Let's save the scene. And let's turn on the poly paint on all the guys right there. So that's one color. So for the cutout of the barrel, I can use the barrel, right? Just select the mesh. You can see it here, and duplicate it and move all the way down to the slide folder right there. And if I do this, it will still leave a like uncutted part over there, so I need to make this thing not hollow but just a straight cylinder. So what I can do is select these guys, delete hidden, same thing here in the birds, del hidden, auto groups, select outer shell and again delete hidden. Now geometry, modify topology, close holes right there. Not the best way actually. Like this side is okay, but this side it's going to be cutting. Well, yeah, I'm not going to take that risk. I'll just export this guy back into Maya and do it properly. Import. A lot of back and forth with importing and exporting, as you have noticed. No. Close hole, select face, and I have this button here which is poke the selected faces. This you can find here, somewhere here. Yeah, here it is, poke. So what it does is basically connects all the vertices on this face in the center of the face, like so, right? Let's do the same part over here. Select the face, poke it. Here we go. Send this back. ZBrush. All right. You can't import a mesh into another mesh while there's still something hidden. So delete hidden and import. Now crease, subdivide it. Now scale that out and set to subtract. And I actually want to make it a bit wider than the barrel. So like drag this guy, then click Alt, which will basically only affect the diameter or the radius. And there's like this thing over there which I was showing you before. Like you can see this extra space over there for the barrel tilting. You can see here, like the barrel tilts. And what I also want, like to know, okay, yeah. So let's isolate this guy and let's add some supporting edges right there and right there. Now I would like to select, and actually let's crease this guy and crease those guys. Now select this part, hit D, and now let's move those up. Right now I'm like moving the upper half of that cylinder, just like there. And yeah, here it is. Yep, this looks good. Can turn off that cartridge over there. So we're actually like almost halfway through, even more than halfway through the slide. Like, so let's continue doing details for the slide, like this cutout for cartridge extractions, like shot case extractions, and all kind of like this, like a lot of stuff going on in here. And let's go on with those guys. So let's save the scene and go on.